going on, everybody? It's Brian Trippe, downtown Birmingham. As someone who's looking for a house to buy, or maybe even you're looking to sell a house, would it be better to try to interrupt someone's day with a form of marketing like that? Cold calls, blast out spam emails? Or would it be better if they came to you?
You're listening to episode number 46 of the Alareia Masterclass podcast.
Brian Trippe, I'm here in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. So excited you decided to join us today for another episode of the Masterclass podcast, a real estate investing podcast.
Hi, my name is Andrew Wells with Executive Lines, Living Life on Purpose.
And I'm Matt Wilson, and we sit down with successful individuals who also live a life of purpose. The goal with this show is for you to be encouraged by hearing the personal stories, the challenges that these people have overcome, and the ways that you can walk through those situations yourself.
And we're here with Brian Trippe. He's been investing in real estate since 2012. And since then, he's completed over 250 transactions in real estate and has most recently started the Alabama Real Estate Investor Association, Alareia, where he teaches and coaches people how to become successful at investing in real estate. He's a graduate at University of Alabama with a journalism degree, a follower of Jesus Christ, and resides in Birmingham with his wife, Catherine, and two children, Madeline and Anson.
So Brian, thank you so much for being here today. And obviously, you've done a lot in real estate, but was it always the goal to get into real estate? You kind of got here not typical path. Tell us a little bit how you got started.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So how I got started in real estate, total accident. When I graduated from Alabama, as Andrew said, in 2004, I kind of meandered my way for years, just not really knowing what I wanted to do. Along the way, I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to coach and teach. So I started coaching basketball as early as 2006. Started with 7th graders and then 8th graders. I ended up doing AAU basketball, got into high school coaching, and then I was like, you know what, I love this coaching and teaching thing. Let me take it to the next level and go ahead and get a degree in it. So I went back to school, got a master's degree in education from UAB, and started coaching at the college level. And I taught at the college level. It was right then that I found real estate, and I made more money on my first real estate deal than I did in an entire year coaching and teaching at the college level. So it was pretty clear right then, even though that was my passion, coaching and teaching, I had to support a family. I was newly married and just felt like that was the route I needed to go. And I just went all into real estate, like I said, in 2012, and I haven't looked back since. It's been a pretty wild ride.
It's always that girl that kind of kicks you in the butt and makes you get going.
It is always the girl. Absolutely. I agree with that.
So, you spent, it was 7 years right after you graduated. You were just kind of piddling around trying to figure out what you were going to do, right?
Yeah.
Did you know, or were you just...
So my dad's a teacher, his dad's a teacher. Yeah. I come from a family of teachers. I kind of always knew inside of me, even when I was at the University of Alabama, my very first major was math. Mm-hmm. And my plan was to be a math teacher. My dad's a math teacher. My grandfather was a math teacher. All right here in the Birmingham area, Shades Valley, McAdory and stuff. So I thought that was I thought that was inside of me.
Yeah.
But then just kind of went away from that. But I felt like I've always been passionate about educating and coaching and teaching. I even led small groups at our church. Always loved the instruction part of it, and just kind of now it's kind of funny that. My real estate career has kind of developed into that. When I started having a little bit of success at real estate, people started coming to me and asking, Brian, how do I get started? How do I do real estate? You've done this, you've had some success. And so I started kind of coaching and mentoring people on a really small scale. And then it just kind of really blew up. It got to the point to where so many people were asking me for help that I had to try to maybe create a revenue stream out of it, create a business out of it. And that's when we launched the Alabama Real Estate Investor Association in January of 2017, so a little over a year ago. And we haven't looked back since. We're now the largest real estate gathering, real estate education company in the state of Alabama, and we're growing. And it's just a phenomenal ride to be on.
You have a podcast too.
We have a podcast. Yeah. So we've created this swarm of media and content around the Alabama real estate genre. We bring on people, much like you guys are doing right now for Executive Lion, bringing on people who fit a specific niche, a business niche. We bring on people who are investors in the state of Alabama, because I don't know everything about real estate.
Yeah.
I've only been doing it for 6 years. We bring
Now
on
you're the premier authority.
we bring on experts who
Yeah.
who kind of like position me a little bit as the authority because I host it, which we could talk about that. But I'm a big believer in education and instruction before you do anything. And if there's really not a college degree that's applicable for real estate investing, so come listen to our podcast, which is 100% free. Come to our meetings, which are dirt cheap. It's free to come to the very first one. To get that education and training, I think it's critical before you actually go out and start investing in real estate.
Yeah, so obviously, you're a high energy guy, very motivated. You're just excited about what you're doing.
Totally.
But one of the things that you shared with us is that you actually struggled with laziness.
Oh, totally.
You couldn't figure out
100%.
how to get going, and so speak to that
Yeah.
and walk somebody else who may be out there, they're watching, they're discouraged, they're just kind of going through the motions on a daily basis, no real purpose.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that and get to where you are now?
Absolutely. It's a long story. I might be a little long-winded on this, but
That's all right.
100%. I was the exact opposite of. I always had the passion and energy, didn't know how to channel it. I was really lazy. I think laziness in general just comes from not knowing and understanding your purpose. If you know and understand your purpose and you have a reason to get out of bed every day, you're going to be gung-ho. And that's kind of, I didn't have that. So what changed for me is when I went back to school and started getting my degree. I got married, started getting my second degree. I got a second bachelor's degree in English. I got my master's degree in education. I also started working for the basketball team at UAB. And I worked under Coach Mike Davis, and I consider Mike Davis to be a father figure to me. And a lot of you, obviously it's a Birmingham-based show, Alabama-based show, and a lot of you guys know that Mike Davis was a coach at UAB, and he left in 2012. Well, if it weren't for Mike Davis, I probably wouldn't be here today. He wasn't speaking to me; he was speaking to the team. But I was there, and he really was kind of he's an old school kind of coach, old school motivator that is kind of more passive aggressive. That the reason you're not successful is because of this. The reason you're not doing what you're doing is because you're not in the gym before practice. You're not staying after practice. You're not going in the film room and watching film and trying to get better. And I'm just like, you know what? And I took that personally. I can get better because I was the film guy. I was the one that cut up all the film. He wanted specific stuff at a certain time. And as soon as we got in film and practice, I had to have practice ready for him to watch within just 5, 10, 20 minutes. And so I had to get that ready for him and just watched him study film, watched all the other coaches study film and study basketball. I was like, man, I want to be better at that. So I just worked my tail off while I was going to school, taking 18, 19, 21 hours, credit hours at a time with straight A's on the president's list, just busted my absolute butt. That's how I learned work ethic. And if it wasn't for that time, I would not have been able to take those skills and transfer that over to real estate and transfer that over to something that I was good at, because I believe you need to find something that you're good at, that you're also passionate about, and that you can. And then the caveat is you also have to find it that you can make money at, and wherever you can find. That's very hard to do. It's very, very hard to do. But if you can find that, you have found your purpose.
That's good.
See, a lot of people I know that sometimes they have this inner drive towards something, right? And sometimes they have a passion towards something that they're not good at, right? And then you got to try to figure out what you're good at. But usually behind what you're not good at, that passion is an underlying, how do you channel that? And so you found a place where you said you channeled it. In this case, it was real estate. You were really into, you coached basketball too, right?
Yeah, I was a basketball coach. Like I said, I was doing video work for UAB. I became the video coordinator at Troy the next year. And then I took a position at Snead State as an assistant basketball coach, Snead State Community College up in Boaz. And before that season started in 2013, I left because that's right when I did my first real estate deal. And
you were huddling. You were all about how do I coach these kids.
Yep.
Throughout your life, you were all about training and coaching.
Yes.
But you were taking different channels. So you don't always have to be good. Like, you weren't the NBA coach. You weren't all these other coaches, but you were still teaching people.
Totally.
So your passion was about teaching and educating, and then you channeled it into real estate because that's eventually what you.
Yeah. So the way it, like I kind of told you how it started, but it was just really interesting how it came full circle, because I didn't plan for it to turn into teaching and coaching. Mm-hmm. I really honestly just went after the money in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I know now that that's not sustainable. You can go after the money for a short period of time, but that's not sustainable. I lost a lot of drive. You get burned out very quickly. Just going hard at something and that you're not super passionate about. I love real estate, but once I started like kind of teaching people how I was doing what I was doing, I was like, I really like doing this. So I started like a little meetup group, went to meetup.com, and that was in April of 2016. And I said, let's just get together and learn real estate. And 4 people showed up at the first one.
It's like starting a church, huh?
Yeah, 4 people showed up the first one. And I didn't really get discouraged about that. Instead, I just poured into those 4 people that really wanted to. We met at my office. And before I knew it, less than 6 months later, we outgrew my office, which really could only house about 25 to 30 people. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this thing, let's do it right. Let's just grow this big organization. We had 75 people at our launch of the Alabama Real Estate Investor Association in January of 2017, and just really haven't looked back since. We haven't been under 100 since. We're expecting our next group's coming up. We're expecting almost 150 at our next one. So
you like having packed houses.
Absolutely love what I do. I love organize. I'm really finding what you're great at and trying to figure out how you can make money at it. I love organizing. I love putting on events. We put on these big training events every quarter, every 3 months. We do real estate trainings, and I just love it. I found my passion. I'm energetic about it. I'm happy. I have something to get up every day and do. And obviously, you guys kind of see it coming out of me a little bit. I just love what I do. So if you can find that, figure that out, and just run as hard as you can towards it.
Yeah, so what you just spoke on is extremely important for people to hear, because, when I first got in, my other business, it was pursuit of the money. And, my goal early on was to make as much money as possible.
Yep.
And I think that, a lot of young, whether they're in business or they're entrepreneurs, whatever, if they get into it for the money, you're right, it will fade. Yep. And it is not fulfilling, and it does not fill that God-sized hole in your heart. I mean, obviously, only He can certainly give you that peace. But, for me, when I realized that the conversations that I get to have on a daily basis allow me the opportunity to make a positive impact in people's lives, and if I do that over and over, and I'm passionate about that, then the money will come.
Totally.
And so, for somebody that's out there that is, right now they're chasing the money, they're being unfulfilled. How did you make that shift from pursuing the money to, following the passion? Because, there is trade-off. I mean, you're going to have to pour into people.
Yep.
And that's going to take time that is not a revenue-generating
That's right.
activity. It takes more time to go that extra mile. But how have you seen that, just come back tenfold?
Yeah, so I know that this is kind of more of a spiritual type of shows, and I'm not afraid to say this anyway, because we talk about it on our podcast a lot. And I'm going to tell you the secret right now. You know what the secret is? Tithing.
Okay.
That's the secret. If you want to be successful and you want an overflow of abundance, you want that money just to come just pouring in, you better be tithing. And if you're not, and some people that may be watching this don't have any money, that maybe very little money's coming in, well, you can tithe other things besides money. You can tithe your time, your resources, go and volunteer. God says it obviously in His Word that this is the only part in the whole Scripture where God says, test me, try this, and just see that the floodgates won't just open up. And it is crazy. God wants to use you as a funnel. He is searching for people to use as a funnel. If He pours a bunch of money into you and you hoard it, He's not going to give you any more. And it's so kind of counterintuitive to what we think. like just on a natural level or kind of on a worldly level. But if you really and truly act as a funnel, same thing with your time, what you're talking about, pouring into people. When you start pouring into people and giving back, tithing your time and your resources and knowledge, it comes back to you so much. God like fills you up with more knowledge, with more money, because he knows he can trust you to be used as that funnel he's looking for, that he can just absolutely pour. So we're just to give you an example. Obviously we tithe everything that comes in, but not only that, we have the opportunity to do something great right now. This platform that I've been given that's really grown and really blown up here locally in our state. I've been asking the question lately in the last few months, how can I really use this platform for God's glory? Like, how can I really and truly, I kind of did it for myself for a while and then realized that this could be a huge, enormous ministry opportunity, not to be like a nonprofit and be like churchy, but how can I use what I'm doing to glorify God? And so we've got the opportunity. We have these events. We do these monthly events, which is the Alabama Real Estate Investor Association. We meet on the second Thursday nights of every single month. We're at the Embassy Suites Hotel. We'd love for you to join us for free for your first time. At these events, I've had the opportunity to bring some people in. The most recent one we're going to have, which obviously this isn't going to come out till way later, but we have the founder of the Love Lady Center who's going to come and speak. Miss Brenda is going to come and speak for 10 or 20 minutes, and we're going to do a little fundraise. You have no obligation to give, but we're asking everyone at the door to give just $10, which I think is completely reasonable. Just give $10, and our organization is going to match whatever we bring in. And just having the opportunity to do something like that, I never would have thought that would have been possible. But I understand now what is happening with this, that it's bigger than me. Everything that's going on right now is way bigger than me and what I ever could have hoped or imagined. And God understands, again, he is looking for someone he can trust. If he's going to pour money into you or resource or time or knowledge or whatever it is, you better give that away. You better give a portion of that away, because he's trusting you, and he's going to give you more and more and more the more you're faithful and obedient to that.
Amen.
No, that's really good. So let's touch on this. So, a lot of people, when we're doing real estate, you got the real estate shows, you got the real estate flips. You teach a lot on the real estate flips and wholesaling. So he actually teaches a lot of people on how to invest in real estate, at least in the local Birmingham, Alabama area. Speak to us about what it's like, because a lot of people ask you questions that suggest that, hey, why are you teaching these secrets?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Why are you teaching these secrets?
Totally.
You're creating competition. So we're always worried about competition in business, but Brian, you're creating a ton of competition. So speak to us a little bit.
And I'll say it in a sentence. I don't believe in competition. I do not believe that competition is what you make it. First of all, how many houses are in Birmingham? There's like 1 million houses in Birmingham, right? So to sit here and to try to have a hoarding, scarcity mentality, that's not biblical. That's not God. The more you give away, the more you're going to get. It's so counterintuitive to what you should think. We think we should have a scarcity mindset that, if I get a great deal, oh man, I want to jump all over this. And it's just not, it just doesn't play out that way. I don't get it. I don't understand why or how. It's just God's law. It's the law of reciprocity, right?
You lost a bid to your buddy.
But here's the thing: if I ever lose a house to a competitor,
yeah,
I know it. I feel like, and one of my good friends said, I took this from one of my good friends, Joe Turney. It's like houses. It's like there's a conveyor belt, and these houses are just going down this conveyor belt. And when I'm ready for my next house, I just go and I pick up the next house. If I missed out on one to a competitor, I'm going to get the next one. There are so many houses. It's crazy. There's so much business out there for you. You can't think that one client is going to make or break your business, whatever your business is. Just go to the next client. Continue to have that giving mentality. The more you give away stuff, we give away everything for free. I sell my personal time and my personal one-on-one coaching, but information is everywhere. If we're doing a show right now, you guys are putting out content and putting out information. I'm not saying anything. You guys aren't saying anything that's really not out there. It's already out there. You're just kind of maybe putting your own spin on it. You have your own niche, but all the information is out there. What we what's not replaceable is, coming to me for access to my network, coming to me for speed of implementation. That's why someone would hire me as a coach, because they want speed and access, not for information. Yeah, you're going to get great information coming to me and coming to our YouTube channel we spell out every single thing that you could possibly desire about real estate. We give it all away for free. You don't come to me for information. You come to me you want speed of implementation, and you want access to my network, my enormous network that we can get you plugged into.
Yeah, I think that, what you're touching on is obviously abundance is the key mindset to have. And, when you realize that ultimately it's going to work out the way God wants it to work out. And so if you miss an opportunity, He can provide 10 more that are greater than the one that you missed out on.
No doubt.
But if you try to control those things, and if you ultimately think that you know better than Him, then you're going to get stuck, and stuck stinks. So when you get in that situation where you absolutely think that you've got to have this deal in order to make your business successful, or you missed out on this client, there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to make it up. That's what the enemy ultimately wants you to believe, that you get in this situation where you're going to cut corners. You're going to do things that you shouldn't do in order to make something happen that really isn't supposed to happen. And when you start to do those things, then you go down the opposite path, and you get to a more scarcity mindset that all of a sudden, like, you missed out on this one, so now you got to work extra hard on this one, and then you got to work extra hard on this one, and you just start getting these walls up around you, and you don't want to let people in.
There's no joy there either. Your joy, all the joy and happiness has been sucked out of you, and you can't be a blessing to other people. You can't. You're going to walk around with a scowl on your face. You love Jesus, you love the Lord, you're a Christian, but you're not happy. You don't have that true happiness inside. To have that mindset completely sucks all the joy out of you.
And you're not going to trust anybody. So I would say that people absolutely have to have trust in His will and His way, because it is 100%. Perfect and it is true.
Absolutely.
But society's way, they'll tell you all day long that you've got to get every deal. You've got to always win. And it's just not the right mindset to have. So from that standpoint, anybody that's in that dilemma where they feel like, because again, when you're starting out and you don't have anything, and you want to, get the first deal done, you want to make some money, and you're just constantly trying to, overcome challenges.
Yep.
There are people out there that have nothing.
Yep.
And obviously, we've had relative success.
That's not true. Everyone has something. You may not have money. You may not have money, but everybody has something. And so the answer to your question that I feel like you're getting to is give. How do I get out of this rut? It is so, again, this is the third time I've said this, it is so counterintuitive to what we think should be reality, but it's not. If you're stuck, you need to start giving right now. Volunteer somewhere. If you don't have any money, volunteer somewhere. You have a skill. You have a skill that no one else has, and you are great at something. I don't care if it's video games. Right. You have a skill.
You're good at video games.
Used to be, but I've got away from that. You have a skill. Utilize that skill. Give away your skill for free. If you have a carpentry skill, go and volunteer at the Dream Center the first Saturday of every single month, and volunteer to help rebuild someone's front porch, wheelchair ramp, something like that. Give away what you have, and you will be amazed at what's going to come back to you.
That's good.
Man, I love it. So you're talking about giving. What about those people who just didn't find, like, they're really struggling finding their passion?
Yeah.
Because you sort of, I wouldn't say that you fell into, you always had your passion in something. It was always, but it's where you channeled that you fell into. But how do you, like, is there a step-by-step way? Like, what kind of thing can you share with people that would help them, guide them towards being able to be, find their passion,
right.
Find their purpose?
I don't know the actual answer to that. I don't think anybody does. I think you need to find your own way. But what I can tell you is, in the beginning, for me, I needed money. I needed money and I ran after ways to make money. And that's not unbiblical. I did little things. I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. And obviously I'm kind of thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking of the guy who was like me, unemployed, living in his dad's basement, playing video games till 4 a.m. That was me. That's kind of the person I thought I was kind of talking to. But even if you're the person who is kind of stuck in the 9-to-5 job, there are things that you can do right now to start creating revenue. Like simple things. You can go to the Dollar Tree, and there's an eBay app that you can start scanning barcodes to see what this thing that you can get for $1, what you might be able to sell on eBay for $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, right? You can go there. If you go to Craigslist, there's a free section in Craigslist. Go to the for sale, and then there's free. And there's people even like me. We just replaced our washing machine, our dryer last night. And we've got this extra dryer that we don't want, that I was just like, let's just throw it on the side of the road and just let the trash pick it up. Somebody could sell that for $50. Mm-hmm. There's a free section in Craigslist where you can just go around and pick up a bunch of free stuff and resell it. You can start making money in an instant. So to tie that back into your question, how do you find your passion? I think when you start generating revenue, 'cause this is what happened for me. I think everybody's going to be different. When you start generating revenue in these creative ways, you're going to find what you're great at, and you might be able to tie the two together. I don't know. Try it.
I love it. It's funny that you touch on that, because I go to Eastern Europe quite often. So it's one of the poorest countries in Europe, Moldova. And I see this, at least I see this on TV or whatnot in Africa or in different places like India, Taiwan, Thailand or whatever. All these people that are really poor find so many innovative ways of making money. Like, I would go meet pastors who are always trying to figure out they know how to fix and sell iPhones all day long. Wow. They can fix their own vehicles all day long. They go and they'll find ways of helping other people. Like, they're just multi-talented in so many different skill sets that ensure that if they're ever broken down or if they're ever in a rut, they can fix every computer. They can fix it. It's the most amazing.
They've developed a skill.
Iraq. During the war times, I would hear about some of these stories. There's these people who create these little small inventions, developing new ways of fixing their vehicles because they always break down. Yeah. And we're not just talking about like mechanics. We're talking about pastors, right. People who are not in this trade. So it's interesting that you say that. Well, we're getting close to the end of our show. So he talked about giving everything away for free. Can you kind of share with us how they can reach you and a little bit about this book?
Right. So I wrote a book. If you know anything, heard anything about real estate, there is there's kind of something that that's been catching a lot of people's attention lately. It's this skill called wholesaling. If you don't have any money, you have no resources in the beginning, there's something that you can do with very little money out of your own pocket that can generate some revenue. It's called wholesaling. I wrote a little manual. It's not really thick enough to be considered a book, but I wrote a little manual on wholesaling, how to do it right here in Birmingham. And I will actually give you this book for free if you come to one of our real estate investor meetings. Just let them know, hey, I heard Brian talk on the Executive Lions show. He said he would give away his wholesale manual for free. I would love to do that for you. Again, we meet on the second Thursday nights of every single month. So just pick the calendar date, show up, Embassy Suites Hotel. We get started around 6 o'clock in Homewood, or you can go to our website. You can go to alareia.com, ALAREIA. And then I've got a new book coming out. Can I talk about that for a second?
Go for it.
I've got a brand new book coming out here in just a couple of months. It's going to be called Nothing's for Sale. You start talking about the law of reciprocity, giving everything away for free. It's called Nothing's for Sale. And you can actually go to that website, nothingsforsale.com. It's a 4 is spelled out, F-O-R. And nothing has an S on the end of it, nothingsforsale.com. You can put your email address in there, and when it comes out, I will contact you, and I'll give you that book for free. So if you're interested in learning some stuff about real estate or learning more about me, you can definitely check those things out for free.
Well, thank you, Brian. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Brian. So if you want to check us out, learn more about who we are and what we're all about, Executive Line, you can visit our website at www.executiveline.com.
Check us out on Facebook, Living Life on Purpose. And we also want you to like and share. If this encouraged you, it could encourage somebody else as well.
And comment down below. Tell us a little bit more about your passions, maybe some of your purpose, and some of what you say may help speak to and encourage other people who are reading. So thank you, Brian, for joining us.
My pleasure. Had fun.
So have a great day, guys.